So, you're a recent college graduate with a potential interest in a career in the insurance industry. My guest today is Awais Farooq, Senior VP of Strategy and Transformation for Crawford Company. He has an extensive background in insurance careers and way has worked his way up to more responsibility in the insurance industry. Welcome to the Young Professionals Career Catalyst, Farooq.
Yeah, thank you,
Awais.
thank you, Shelley, for having me. Excited to be here. This is a great platform for young individuals to understand what it's all about. And insurance industry is not as attractive as most other industries, so excited to be here.
Okay, wonderful. I want to ask you lots of questions about it. So before we talk about your current job, what did you think you wanted to do as you were growing up? What were your career interests?
Yeah, it just varied. I think, it was different in kindergarten. It was different in middle school, high school, and college. And I think mostly for people as they're in high school and college, they're trying to think about, okay, do I want to go into a medical field? Do I want to do something specific in finance or go into banking, engineering, whatever that may be? And I kind of went through those motions as well. Was lost, didn't really know where to go, what to do. I was at the time when I was in college, I was working two part-time jobs, a full-time job at an insurance company, and I was trying to do a business on the side too. So I was quite busy during college, and I thought insurance was just going to be a 6-month stint for me while I try to get my feet on the ground and then start running. But it ended up being that now, 16 years later, I'm still stuck here.
Hopefully stuck in a good way.
Yes, very good.
So what was your major in college?
So my undergrad was in human performance, human behavior performance. I really was inclined towards understanding how do people react, why do they do certain things. So from a psychological standpoint, understanding that into a more of a business management structure was quite intriguing to me. It happened by accident. I didn't know that that's something that I would enjoy as much as I did. And part of it was just through self-discovery and through understanding, Daniel Goleman is a good role model to understand, emotional intelligence and self-awareness. And early on, I kind of picked up on that, being that I was in sales right out of high school. It forced me to learn more about the patterns of behavior of people, what motivates them, what gets them excited. So that was my undergrad. And then I went to Boston University for my graduate studies in business, in insurance management.
Okay, very interesting. So I'm sure it helps having that understanding of human psychology and behaviors and emotional intelligence.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, insurance industry is very heavily service driven. It's a blank box of promises is what I call the insurance industry, and it's all about relationship building. It's all about connecting with people, making them understand what that you're there to help them, that
Right.
they've purchased a piece of contract on a paper that is actually meaningful and will help them substantially, whether it's financial and or support in other ways.
Okay. So what was your first career upon graduation?
So it happened by accident. I was shopping around for insurance, and I was in sales at the time. I was doing retail sales, and I went to my insurance agent who asked me to come and work for her. And my response to her was, I think insurance is legal robbery because how much I was paying as a young individual driving a car. And so I said, I'd never want to sell something like that to people. So she laughed and she said, my husband's in claims. You should go and talk to him. I had no idea what claims was about. I didn't even know that there were claim offices. I went in and interviewed thinking, as I mentioned, that I'll be there for a few years. And here we are.
Right, right. And it's just so interesting how these things just sort of randomly happen, and then before you know it, it kind of leads into what you're doing the rest of your life. Just a chance
Yeah,
encounter.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
So what did you like and dislike about that first position that you had? So you were a claims adjuster at first, or?
No, I was in back office operations. It was just variety of different tasks. It was providing phone service as well as just at that time it was paper support and gathering documents together, compiling them before they get submitted outside. So it was just very back office operations role. And initially it was quite refreshing going from a retail space into an office space. Okay, I have my own little space, little cubicle. I come in, I have my own setup. I'm done at 4:30, and I leave. And it was good structure
Mhm.
to understand that there is a start and an end, because anybody that's worked retail will know that there's no start and no end, and you work all different types of hours.
Sure, absolutely. So, is there a particular major that lends itself especially well to a career in the insurance industry?
Not really. A couple of months back, I did a poll on LinkedIn asking people, challenging people to identify a major that does not tie in with insurance. And I think there was one, if any at all, and even that had connectivity to it. So when you think about the insurance industry, it's so large, and there's so many
Mhm.
different elements of different services that are needed to help support the industry as a whole. It's fascinating. So, for example, if you're in accounting, of course, every company needs an accountant.
Yes.
If you're in accounting and you want to do some discovery, and you have a little bit of investigative approach to you, then you could be a forensic accountant, where you're reviewing businesses and you're reviewing their balance sheets and income statements to identify, is there any fraudulent activity going on from an insurance standpoint? Because when something happens to a business, the insurance company is liable for paying them, and so on and so forth. Even aviation, there's, airplanes have accidents.
Yeah.
You think about medical professionals. You have so many claims in the healthcare space, as well as in workers' comp, to understand the types of injuries, the type of medication, et cetera. So whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lawyer, lawyers, there's so much. I mean, insurance companies are getting sued right and left, and
Yeah.
we need some good lawyers to identify. So my challenge still is out there to identify a field that doesn't directly tie into insurance, because there's parts or elements of it where you can link yourself directly and embed yourself in the insurance industry.
That's so interesting. I would have never expected that response, but that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess based on that first experience you had when you were looking for insurance, and then you became involved in the business, that's really what led to your interest in the insurance industry, and led you to go on for your master's degree related to that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working full time, and at the time, the insurance company was paying part of my school, so that was a good incentive to continue to work for them. And it really revolved around looking around me and saying, okay, what is the potential of me growing in this company? And having recognized that an adjuster can become a CEO one day was
Mhm.
quite inspiring. And the career path of some of the executives in the industry was just, you come in, you put your hard work in, and you're loyal, you're committed, you show your dedication and hard work, and you'll make your way up. Was quite fascinating. Now, it took a different toll. I thought I was going to be, my first company was State Farm. I thought I'll be there 50, 40 years later, and I'll retire and I'll be done. But life has different paths, and it takes you on, and all for the better.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah.
So what are some of the positions that you've had in the industry?
Yeah, so I have so with State Farm, I led catastrophe operations. So I got really excited about the catastrophe field, because I got to travel a lot. I was young and I didn't have any ties. I could go anywhere. So pretty much 8 to 10 months out of the year, I was living out of a suitcase in different cities.
Wow.
And it wasn't a Monday through Thursday type of situation. It was that you go and plant yourself into a city, into a state for 3 to 4 months, and then you come back, and it was just rinse and repeat. You get some downtime, so you were working more hours, but less days, which was kind of nice.
Mhm.
And it was good as far as where I was in life, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to earn all those hotel points and everything else that comes along with that. um, and then after that, I went to Chubb, where I led their North America commercial claim operations. So I had a very large unit, had some business offshore engagements in different countries, as well as process engineering. And then I went to a Berkshire Hathaway company where I started a claims department for them and ran property claims for the entire organization for them before I went to a technology company. And now I'm at Crawford Company where we service insurance companies. So it's all revolving around the insurance industry, around how do we build talent, how do we attract talent, identify what are some opportunities in the industry.
Wow, that's fascinating. I had no idea there was so much opportunity and so many different positions that you could advance into. So that's wonderful. So, what are some of the top skills that someone needs to be successful in the insurance business?
It's a human service, so you have to have that human connectivity. You have to have patience. One of the advice that I was given by my mentors was, it's like being in a pond infested with alligators, and you realize that when you're in the dead center. And if you panic and you freak out and you start making noise, you're going to attract all the alligators. But if you're calm, collected, you may have a chance of making out. So it's how do you deal with pressure? Are
Okay.
you a good negotiator? Are you a good do you have that empathetic approach? So if you're caring, you're actually in the insurance industry, you're helping make people's lives better.
Yes.
So whether it's providing them financial services on the sales side, but on the claim side, where my experience has been, it's refreshing to go into a space where you're giving them the check to rebuild their home, rebuild their place. I've been to places where a tornado came through and the family was in the basement, they came out, the house was gone.
Oh,
And you
wow.
being there, listening to them and the struggles, and they're so thankful for you being there. I consider it more of a humanitarian uh, industry in some shape, way, or form. But it has its pitfalls too. Like you have to sometimes deliver the bad news of what's been, so it's not all that we're just giving away money, but it's just having that balance of how can you have that connectivity for the person to understand what are the services that they've acquired, what are the that you're in their best interest, right? I've had some really good adjusters where they've received a lot of compliments for a home being denied. Like you have a $400,000 loss, and your adjuster is telling you, "Hey, we're not going to give you a penny for it." And it's a difficult pill to swallow, but just the way you approach that situation, makes a huge difference.
Right, right. I never even thought about empathy as a key skill for that business, but I'm sure that is a huge advantage if you can be empathetic and understanding. I mean, you're dealing with some of the worst possible scenarios in someone's life, so I'm sure empathy is key. Good point. So, what type of pay structure is common in the insurance business? Is it salary and commission? Is it all commission?
Yeah, on the sales side, there is commission. Of course, the more you sell, there's elements of that, salary and commission. And then in the service side of things, such as underwriting, claims, actuary, accounting, that's predominantly salary with a bonus, right? So
Okay.
it's very competitive, I will say, and if you it's compared to other industries where you have to put a lot of effort to be able to get to the next level. In the insurance industry, you can accelerate yourself much faster. So where you start is not going to be where you will be in 3 years from today. So
Okay.
if you're making 40, 50, $60,000, you can make a lot more. It just really depends on for your opportunity to truly having that platform to shine and identify your art and skill, and seeing what value do you bring to the table. And the industry is very good with rewarding from within.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, what would you say is the biggest challenge in the industry right now?
The talent. So all of you listening, apply to insurance companies. They're looking for you. so
Good
I,
to know.
yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. There's, as you know, the baby boomer generation is retiring faster. And now is the prime time for our next generations to come in and take over. So there's a huge um, gap between the talent. And I speak about that quite frequently to say, if you are in college, if you are thinking about a career move, insurance industry is a stable industry. Even during recession, you don't see much disruption because there's an opportunity for you. So regardless of what your background is, regardless of where your studies, etc., there are pieces that you can employ, but you have to do your research, right? I think it's easier
Right.
said than done. Most people come in and they ask me, I applied to insurance companies and I didn't get it. And it's about making sure you're able to display what value you bring to the table, because there, as much as the industry is in need of talent, there's also a lot of development around technology at the moment. So we
Right.
hear AI everywhere. So it's not that AI will take over our jobs. I think it's how we leverage AI to make ourselves better, smarter, faster. And for people, young individuals that are looking to jump into the industry, it's crucial for them to understand how is the technology evolving and what the future of workforce will look like. It's going to be a tandem approach of technology and people. It's always been that way.
Right.
It's just now that we have more time to be able to do things faster.
Hmm. Okay. So are there a lot of insurance companies that have professional development opportunities for a new graduate that's coming out and wants to get into the business? Because they're obviously coming out, they may not have any experience with insurance. So are there companies that do a really good job with getting someone started in the business?
100%. I'll echo Crawford Company as being that destination of talent development, right? So we provide a lot of training to individuals that are new, fresh college graduates to come in, learn the skill, learn the art, and then, embed themselves into the industry. And of course, if you go onto Crawford and Company, you'll see a lot of claim adjuster trainee roles where you'll be given training, you'll be given the tools and the technology to be able to help facilitate, understand the coverages, the policies, etc. So I think for most part, a lot of insurance companies as well as us, we focus on developing that talent. We understand that as a college graduate, you're not going to know how to read a policy, how to write an estimate, and how to settle a
Right.
claim. But those are things that come after you have that understanding that you're in it to help people, that you're entering into the industry to build connections and to make people's lives better.
Okay. That's good to know. I'll definitely keep that in mind for my clients.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
okay. So you are very passionate about mentorship. Explain how that interest came about.
So it's a payback to I had some really great mentors along the way, and I've asked them. They're very senior in their roles as I was early on in my career, and I asked them, "Why are you helping me? I appreciate you taking the time out, and you're so diligent, and you're busy, and yet you make time for me once a month, twice a month to come in and chat with you, and you're making a lot of time and investment." And the feedback that I received was, somebody did that for me and I'm doing it for you, and my ask is that you do it for someone else. And I think that to me is huge, because I didn't get here by myself. I got here because I had people in my corner that were looking out for my best interest. I had people in my corner that were telling me the things that they were telling me things that I didn't want to hear. And
Right.
it's there's been a lot of situations in my career moves as I was going through, and you go through this motion of like, should I do this, should I not do this? And as you step back, more than likely you incline towards the people that have similar opinion to you, so they will tell you, okay, don't do it. But if you have a good mentor who's going to recognize your potential, not
Mhm.
necessarily where you are today, but where you can be. So it's refreshing to be able to have those types of mentors. And of course, I want to be able to help be that person for someone else, and so on and so forth, and continues the legacy. That's what we do as human beings.
That's awesome. So you're paying it forward.
Yep.
So you won an award in 2023 for Mentor of the Year. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so a great point. Rise Professionals is a great organization. So if you're looking to enter into the industry, I would definitely say become a part of that. They're doing some phenomenal work around talent, bringing out different opportunities. So it's internship opportunities, it is job opportunities, entry level, senior level, and it's really bridging the connection between new talent and experienced talent. And so I have done a lot of different mentorship at my mosque, at local community, as well as within workspace of my own company, as well as in the industry as a whole. Because as I've moved around companies, some of the people that have worked for me are now at different companies, and thankfully enough, they considered me valuable enough to be able to nominate me for that award, and I was honored to receive it, and it was humbling to be able to see that I was a recipient of the award. But yeah, mentorship is a great part of that, and I'm very heavily involved in Rise. So if you have any questions, look me up on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to connect you. Or you could just go to riseprofessionals.com, and you'll get access to a lot of different resources.
Okay, and is that an association for the insurance industry, or what is Rise Professionals?
So yeah, so Rise Professionals is a network of individuals that is bringing on a platform for young talent to get recognized as an industry as a whole, as well as for the development and bringing in new talent into the industry. So you have a lot of different insurance companies. Some are smaller, some are larger. And this talent is hidden within the boundaries of those four walls. And that's where I was. I was in a carrier, and I was the known person in that company, but when I left that company, I had no branding. Nobody knew me. So Rise Professional gives the opportunity to young individuals to get recognized. They have an award of 35 under 35 for the accomplishments that you've done. You get nominations, and people are able to recommend you for that award based off of what you've been able to accomplish. So it gives a good platform for individuals to get recognized for the hard work they're doing in the industry, as well as a lot of resources of how they excel from that front line to the first leadership role or second level leadership role, and so on and so forth, but starting at that entry level as well. And there's scholarship as well. So if anybody's interested in applying for a scholarship, they do every year $1,000 scholarship. And depending on how we're doing in certain years, we try to bring in the recipient of the awards to accept the award in person. And that's in Fort Lauderdale in June. So it's a good opportunity to get out to Florida too.
That's wonderful. I hadn't heard of it before, so I'll definitely keep that in mind. So you've also done a lot of volunteer work. What's the biggest advantage to adding that experience to your resume?
Yeah, I think it's important to showcase what you do, what you're passionate about. People don't hire robots, people hire people. If you did X, Y, and Z, and that's what I'm hiring you for, um, that's good. But in my experience, when you're able to showcase your personal side of what you're passionate about, what do you care about, demonstrate you as an individual and what you bring to the table. So I think it's always important to highlight out the volunteer work, as well as just self-awareness of those things you're passionate about. Are you truly passionate about it? Because I do hold myself accountable to that, and saying, look, I care about younger individuals, and I have a youth group, I do orphanages and different things, and how does that impact my life, and what type of a human being I am.
Hmm. That's wonderful. So, what do you hope to be doing professionally in 5 or 10 years from now?
That's a magical question. It will not be whatever I say, right? I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, I think it's just being agile and flexible. Like at the moment, I am focused on bridging this connection of talent and making the future of claims work for us. So I think excited to see how this will shape. Hopefully, in a C-suite role, close, but we'll see how that goes. But it's exciting to at least head towards that direction. So the goal is there to make it to the C-suite, and to be able to continue to progress and learn different experiences. So as much as it is about progression upwards, I'm also quite passionate about learning different parts of the business. So it could be lateral into different areas of how, claims, underwriting, and other avenues to accelerate myself.
Wonderful. So, what's one piece of career advice you would give to today's young professional or recent college graduate? There's lots of kids coming out with degrees within the next week or two. So, what would you tell them professionally? What type of advice would you give?
I would say know your strengths would be my simple advice. I'm a big believer of Gallup Strengths Finder. So if those of you that know Strengths Finder 2.0, Tom Rath,
Yes.
do that assessment. I think that has changed my life, and it allowed me to focus on the things that I'm really good at versus trying to fix the things that I'm terrible at.
Right.
And how do you leverage that? So the first step is to understand yourself, your strengths. And then the next piece is, how do you build people around you that don't have the same strengths as you? Because that really elevates you at that point, because then as a team, you're able to develop a much stronger acumen, much stronger career progression.
Right, right. That is one of the assessments that I give. It's one of the first assessments I give my clients so that they can understand we don't even necessarily even realize our strengths, but
Yeah.
every time I give that to a client, they come back and say, wow, that was really accurate. It really causes them to do some, um, reflective thinking and realizing, yeah, I've been told before that I'm pretty good at that. So,
Yeah.
but definitely capitalize on those strengths. No doubt about it. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Awais. We're so glad that you were here. You really gave us a good insight into the industry. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shelley. It was really an honor being here. And for anybody that's listening, if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, open door. And look forward to your feedback, and let me know if you had any feedback just for this session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right.
So to my audience in the Lehigh Valley and surrounding area, I have a great event coming up on Friday, May 17th. It's the area's first dining, etiquette, and networking luncheon at the club at Twin Lakes in Allentown, PA. You just never know when you'll need to entertain a potential client, interview during a meal, or dine with the company CEO or big wig from your organization. So it's really important to know proper dining etiquette to make the right impression. Tickets are on sale now at Ticket Tailor. Look for the business etiquette and networking luncheon to purchase those tickets. And tune in for the next episode on Tuesday, May 14th for the next episode of the Young Professionals Career Catalyst. Thank you so much again, Awais.
Thank you. Take care, Shelley.